All right, so for today's discussion, we're gonna take a look at formats in Matlab. So what do I mean by formats? So if you type in, 1 plus 2, there's a certain level of spacing. I actually changed the format, so let me go back to the format you're probably seeing right now. Sorry. 1 plus 2. Okay, so you currently see, there's like a space in between your, your answer and your statement. Okay, so the way you change that spacing has to do with your format. You can also, say I type in 2.1. You can also change the format of your numbers, and particularly your decimal, like the number of decimal points you want to show as well, using the format function. So you might have already seen me, or you probably already saw me use the format command, but in in Matlab we use format in order to change this. So again, now we have the space in between. If we wanted to change the Matlab output in the command window to be without this space, maybe you're annoyed by it, you can say format compact. Okay, and then now if you type in 1 plus 2, you don't have that awkward space in between your answer and your statement. So if you want to go back, you type in format loose and 1 plus 2, we got that space back. Okay, so I don't like that spacing, so I'm going to go to format compact. Okay, and I'm going to clear the command window. So also you can change the output of your decimals. So right now we have 4 decimal places that are showing in our decimal number. Okay, so if we wanted to change the output of our decimal, we can say, so right now there's a short output. So there's a short and a long way of formatting your decimals. So by default, Matlab uses the short format for your decimals. So if you wanted to change that to the long form, so I mean more decimal places, you say format long. I'm going to suppress the output and press enter. And now if I type in 2.1, we get all these values over here. So to go back to the other case, we say format short. And now we type in 2.1. And we're back to just the 4 decimal places. So one of the big questions that people have when they are trying to decide, what format to use is, okay, say you have 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bunch of numbers, and you press enter, and you only see the 4 decimal places, so you think, okay, what the heck, Matlab, you're cutting off all my numbers. Now, the way that Matlab outputs or displays your decimal is not necessarily the way that Matlab stores your decimal. So right now Matlab is storing this value, okay, and this is just a way that they're showing you the results, but when they do any sort of math or manipulation, they're going to use this value, or the code is going to use this value. Okay, so if you type in format long, okay, and you look at, answers should store this value, which should be this. Sorry. So answer should have this value stored, but it displays this under the format short command. So I hope that wasn't confusing. But theoretically, if we type in ants, we're looking at the variable ants, which should store the last answer, and we press enter after we use the format long, we see, okay, Matlab outputs the long way, or the long form of your value. Okay, now I think it got cut off because it has to do with the way Matlab stores numbers, so it can't store more than this magnitude of decimal places, and that's why it's getting truncated. So even under the format long, if we type in this value, we're only going to store up to that 6, not the 4, 3. And that just has to do with the precision and your the number of bits you're computer can process. So format long and format short store the same amount of decimal places. The problem is when you're trying to display the values, if you want to see all the numbers, you have to use format long instead of format short. Okay, now oh, sorry, I'm going to clear the answer and clear the workspace. Now if we look to the documentation website, which I keep referring back to, we can see that there are multiple styles of output that you can use for your numbers when you're trying to display them. So by default we use the short value, and we just took a look at that, and it shows 4 digits after the decimal point. If we use long, we get significantly more decimal places, as you can see over here. Now there are also other options. So you could use short E, which is a shorthand scientific notation, and that just shows the E to the whatever power based on the value. Okay, and then you could say long E, where it shows more numbers, and then it shows you the scientific notation E to the whatever power. Okay, there's short G, which is whichever one is more compact, and long G, which is long, or long E, whichever is more compact. Okay, so it shows the short case and the long case. There's also short ENG, which is a short engineering notation with 4 digits after the decimal point. Okay, you can see that here. And then the long ENG, which is a long engineering notation with 15 significant figures, which you see right here. Okay, and it shows the three, the power of, so magnitude, and it shows 3 values. There's also the hexadecimal representation of a binary double precision number. Okay, which just shows they're stored in these like crazy looking things. You shouldn't worry about this for now. We'll probably talk about it later, but it shows the hexadecimal output. And then there's RAT, which is the ratio of small integers, which is this value. So I hope that was helpful, and please let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.